Peace, love, and blessings, fam. Johnny Sally here with day 14 of Wisdom of the Ages by Wayne W. Dyer. Again, if you've missed the previous episodes, you can catch them on YouTube at Loyalty Life, spelled Lyfe Legacy LLC. Let's get into day 14 with hope. The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. Michelangelo, Italian painter, sculptor, architect, and poet, Renaissance artist Michelangelo Buonarroti is an outstanding figure in the history of visual arts. Over the past 25 or so years, I have appeared regularly on a radio and television talk show, conversing with listeners who call in and join the discussion. One of the most frequent criticisms I have received from the host of these shows is that I offer far too much hope for people in dire circumstances and that this could be a dangerous thing. Despite this kind of fault finding, I am still at a loss to understand how having too much hope could be a dangerous thing. When people tell me of a medical diagnosis that implies no cure being possible, I encourage them to shift their aim to a completely opposite outcome. I talk frequently about the law that has allowed any miracle that has ever occurred since the inception of time to take place. I explain that that law has been repealed and is still on the books. I cite cases of people who were told to go home and wait to die, who were given 6 months to live, and who freed themselves of their illness and their diagnosis. I receive mail every day from people who refuse to listen to the low aims and the low hopes that others have had for them, describing how grateful they were for a message of hope in difficult times. I believe that Michelangelo, who lived a few days shy of 89 years, still sculpting, painting, writing, and designing in an age when 90 was about 60 years beyond normal life expectancy, was speaking to this idea of having very high hopes and aims in this famous quotation of his. The danger is not in false hope. Rather, it is in no hope or low hope. And consequently, our objectives and aims are diminished by our beliefs before they can be worked on and materialized. This not only concerns the overcoming of physical maladies, it includes virtually everything in our lives. The world is full of people who have aimed low and thought small, who want to impose this diminutive thinking on anyone who will listen. The real danger is the act of giving up or setting standards of smallness for ourselves with low expectations. Listen carefully to Michelangelo, the man whom many consider the greatest artist of all time. I recall standing in front of the statue of David in Florence and being transfixed. The size, the majesty, the spirit that seemed to jump right out of the marble was Michelangelo saying to all of us, aim high. When he was asked how he could create such a masterpiece, he responded that David was already in the marble. He simply had to chip away the excess to allow him to escape. High aim indeed. And speaking of high, take a look sometime at the Sistine Chapel, where Michelangelo painted the ceiling by lying on his back and working every day for 4 years between 1508 and 1512. It was a project that lesser artists would have considered impossible. Yet Michelangelo took it on, and many more in a lifetime crammed full of high energy, high talent, and yes, high aim. Virtually all of Michelangelo's artistry gave expression to the idea that love helps human beings in their struggles to ascend to the divine. This was true in some 300 sonnets that he wrote, and it showed itself in his depiction of spiritual themes in his painting, sculpting, and architectural design. From a humble beginning as a banker's son in Italy, this man, because of his high hopes, big dreams, and intolerance for low expectations, emerged as one of the most respected leaders of the Renaissance and in all of human history. A few years ago, while I was walking with my wife through a rural village in Bali, we were told that the job of an old man who sat at the entrance to the gate was to be a cloud maker. I listened intently as I was told how the villagers believed that a man could produce clouds that would bring rain in times of drought merely by his own consciousness. Yet, I must admit to some skepticism because of my own tribal conditioning that says that such events as cloud formations are beyond the scope of human consciousness. Today, though, I know one truth only regarding such conditioning. No one knows enough to be a pessimist. I have on occasion lain on the grass with my own small children making clouds. And while neighbors might mutter about those crazy Dyer kids thinking they can make clouds, I simply ignore such pessimism as I hear one or the other shout, "Look, Daddy, I'm making my cloud bump yours right out of the picture." I see no danger in such thinking. Indeed, I agree with Michelangelo. The far greater danger is in reaching the low expectations that we hold for ourselves. Michelangelo's advice is just as applicable today in your life as it was in his over 500 years ago. Never listen to those who try to influence you with their pessimism. Have complete faith in your own capacity to feel that love that shines through David, Madonna and Child, and the heavenly frescoes on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The love of your conscious contact with this artist who shared the same universal spirit of oneness with you and every human being who has ever lived. His accomplishments arose from the message he offers all of us at the beginning of this piece. Aim high. Refuse to choose small thinking and low expectations. And above all, do not be seduced by the absurd idea that there is danger in having too much hope. In fact, your high hope will guide you to heal your life and to produce your own masterpieces, whether they be frescoes or fruit baskets. To put Michelangelo's advice to work in your own life, follow these simple guidelines. Refuse to listen to or internalize the proclamations of those who point to your limitations. You must always remember, when you argue for limitations, the only thing you get are limitations. Above all else, never aim low or think small. You are a divine manifestation of God, and in that regard, you are connected to that which causes and creates miracles. Keep hope alive in you by remembering that famous remark of Albert Einstein's: great spirits have always encountered violent oppositions from mediocre minds. I will read that again. Great spirits have always encountered violent oppositions from mediocre minds. When you consider what you would love to accomplish in your life, but feel ill prepared to bring it about, picture the 89-year-old Michelangelo living 5 centuries ago, painting, sculpting, and writing. Imagine he is telling you that you can create whatever you desire. And the great danger is not having too much hope, but in reaching what you have perceived as hopeless. Now, I myself am a firm believer in mind over matter. That's why I'm a firm believer in making time for things one say they want. So I'll state it again as I have in plenty other videos. If you have time to scroll, you have time to heal. If you have time to scroll, you have time to meditate and travel interdimensionally, whether you believe it's possible or not. If you have time to scroll, you have time to invest in yourself to bring forth that which you hope to bring forth. To me, the idea of just having hope that something will take place is a wish. Now, that's not to say that that hope can't be a motivator to complete a task, a project, or self change. Let that hope be the fire that you continue to throw coal or wood on, or whatever type of accelerant you will use, by using words of affirmation to make that fire grow to where you can do the impossible. We live in a reality where we're taught and told that the impossible is exactly that. I remember hearing a pastor in church tell someone that they weren't able to do certain things because that died off with the apostles. And I could have swore, as far as those scriptures spoke of, that Yeshua said, you would do greater works even than I. So if Jesus was said to have healed people, to made the blind see, made the lame walk, fed thousands of people with just a loaf of bread, that would seem impossible. So how do you tell someone that has done the impossible, or someone that has said the impossible can be done, how do you then tell their followers that they can't do those things just because you don't believe it? To me, it seems like another form of control, because if individuals are able to hope themselves into a new state of being, hold the beautiful things that can manifest. It's no different than the placebo effect. There have been studies that have been shown where there were two separate study groups. One was given a sugar pill, and the other was actually given the actual medicine to treat whatever it was. And in many cases, those who believed the medicine was healing them were healed. So, to say that something is impossible, no, you just haven't observed it. There are many things that take place on the daily that are kept in secret, that are hidden. Why? Well, because the alphabet boys would be at their door trying to figure out how they were able to do such, and usually only to study them and try to weaponize them for some type of malicious, malefic intent or adventure that they would send them on as some type of secret agent by choice. I mean, by force and not by choice. So, believe in yourself. Have hope that you can do anything that you would like to, that you would want to, that you believe to. But also know, having that hope should be the fire that continues to fuel you to figure it out. I remember when I first started making orgone technology, and I was intrigued by it because I couldn't find it anywhere with all the marketplaces I would go to. And I was at my altar one day and I heard, make it yourself. I'm like, I don't know how to do it. They said, buy the material and you'll know what to do. Once I bought the material, I hoped I would know what to do. And as time progressed, I became better and I continued. So that is what I implore you to do. Use your hope as a catalyst to implore you to continue to grow, to continue to mold, to continue to manifest, to continue to shape yourself into a being that you didn't even realize you could become. And use your hope to do exactly the impossible that those who want to keep you down say can't be done. Because once you believe in yourself to that degree, the impossible becomes everyday living. I thank you for being present with me today. Walk in love, walk in light, walk in peace. and know that you are loved.